Hey, what's good, football fans? Buckle up because we're diving into the wild roller coaster that is Chelsea Football Club. Back in 2022, when Roman Abramovich was forced to sell the club, everyone thought the glory days were done. No more trophies, no more blockbuster signings, no more magical nights at Stamford Bridge.
But hold up. Nobody saw the chaos that was about to unfold. In just 2 years, Chelsea cycled through managers faster than you can say Premier League. Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, Mauricio Pochettino. Each one came and went, with the board throwing cash at players like they were trying to build a fantasy football team on steroids.
Enzo Fernandez signed for a record-breaking fee, the priciest midfielder the Premier League had ever seen. Mikhailo Mudryk, Ukraine's shiny new star. Raheem Sterling, the experienced guy meant to save the day. But none of them could stop the train wreck. Chelsea wasn't a team. It was a science experiment gone wrong.
No identity, no cohesion, just a bunch of talented guys running around like headless chickens. Fans went from dreaming big to scratching their heads, wondering what happened to their club, while the spotlight was on giants like Manchester City, Real Madrid, and PSG. Chelsea quietly got back to basics, doing what they do best, building something unstoppable.
Fast forward to now, under Enzo Maresca's leadership, Chelsea's gone from a hot mess to a legit powerhouse. Last season, they didn't just survive, they dominated, snatching the Club World Cup and leaving Europe speechless. This isn't a team in progress anymore, it's a squad that's young, hungry, and ready to take on anyone.
Let's rewind to May 2022. The UK government greenlit Chelsea's sale for over £4 billion to a group led by American businessman Todd Boehly, all because of sanctions tied to Abramovich in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The club was in limbo, no signings, key players bailing, and results tanking.
From third place in 2021-22 to a shocking 12th in 2022-23, Chelsea hit rock bottom. Even climbing to 6th in 2023-24 wasn't enough. They were out of Europe, a shadow of the team that once struck fear into opponents. The problem? Signings with no plan. Big names, bigger price tags, but zero chemistry. Coaches came and went like they were playing musical chairs. Tuchel got the boot despite a Champions League title. Potter couldn't command the room. Lampard was a temp fix. Pochettino talked a big game but couldn't deliver. Chelsea became the punchline for rival fans. A squad of expensive jerseys with no heart. But Boehly and the board didn't back down. They doubled down, and this time, they got smart. Instead of chasing flashy names, they hunted for players with grit, discipline, and a point to prove. They needed a coach with a vision, someone who could turn chaos into order. Enter Enzo Maresca.
Maresca, the guy who learned from Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, walked into Stamford Bridge with one goal: make Chelsea a team again. His plan? Smart possession, relentless pressing, inside fullbacks, commanding midfielders, and wingers who fly forward. But more than tactics, he brought structure.
Training got intense, roles were crystal clear, and every player knew they had to earn their spot. No more free passes, no more untouchables. Maresca turned a group of random talents into a machine where every pass, every move has a purpose. He's young, sure, and hasn't bagged the biggest trophies yet, but he's given Chelsea something they haven't had in years, an identity. Think back to 2012 when Roberto Di Matteo took a broken Chelsea and led them to Champions League glory. Maresca's doing that same kind of magic, and this is just the start. Let's talk about the players making this happen. First up, Enzo Fernandez. When he joined in 2023, he was a World Cup hero, a Benfica standout with a pinpoint pass and a Warriors mentality. But at Chelsea, he was thrown into a mess, asked to be everything: playmaker, pivot, firefighter. The pressure to justify his massive price tag was brutal, and the lack of a clear system didn't help. Still, Enzo never cracked. He took the criticism, pushed through injuries, and when Maresca arrived, he found his groove. Now he's not trying to save the world single-handedly. He's doing what he does best, breaking lines with killer passes, setting the tempo like a maestro, and even sneaking into the box to score. At 24, he's not just the kid from Qatar anymore, he's the midfield general, leading with every touch and every tackle. Then there's Cole Palmer.
When Chelsea snagged him from Manchester City in 2023, some called it a gamble, a talented kid who couldn't break into Pep's squad. But Chelsea didn't just buy a player, they got a leader. In a locker room full of big egos and bigger contracts, Palmer stood out with his brains, his flair, and his ice-cold mentality.
He became the team's top scorer in his first season, and by 2025, he was the guy lifting the Club World Cup. Against PSG in the final, he was unstoppable, scoring twice, assisting once, and running the show. In the semis against Flamengo, he had social media buzzing with his masterclass. At 23, Palmer's not a prospect, he's a game changer, the guy who shows up when the chips are down, making Chelsea unpredictable and deadly.
But it's not just Enzo and Cole. The attack is starting to click, even if it's had its hiccups. Christopher Nkunku's been slowed by injuries, but is finding his place as a free-roaming second striker. Nicholas Jackson's inconsistency has cost him, and Noni Madueke's departure to Arsenal right before the Club World Cup final stung. Still, Chelsea's building something special up top. Enter Liam Delap, a Manchester City Academy grad who's brought raw power and a nose for goal. At 22, he's a beast, strong, aerially dominant, and always ready to pounce. Then there's Estavo Willian, the Brazilian wonder kid nicknamed Messinho. Signed for 60 million euros, this 18-year-old is pure electricity, dribbling, speed, and smarts that terrify defenders. And don't sleep on João Pedro, the Brighton import who's added dynamism and goal-scoring news to the left wing. With Palmer pulling strings, this front line is close to finding its killer instinct, maybe with a new number 9 like Benjamin Šeško or Evan Ferguson to seal the deal. Defensively, Chelsea's gone back to their roots. Remember the days of John Terry, Ashley Cole, and Petr Cech? That rock-solid vibe is back, but with a modern twist. Younger, faster, hungrier. Reece James, when healthy, is a captain who leads by example, bombing down the right or locking things down in midfield. Malo Gusto stepped up as one of Europe's best fullbacks, quick, technical, and relentless. On the left, Marc Cucurella's shaken off the doubters, bringing aggression and heart. In the center, Levi Colwill's the new defensive boss, elegant, quick, and dominant in the air. Trevoh Chalobah's bounced back from loans to become a mainstay, with youngsters like Benoit Bediashile, Axel Disasi, and Alfie Gilchrist ready to step up.
In goal, Robert Sanchez has silenced the haters, delivering clutch saves and cool-headed leadership, especially in the Club World Cup. With backups like Gagas Lanina and Philip Jorgensen waiting, Chelsea's defense is a fortress. Tough to break, even tougher to outsmart. What makes this team scary isn't just the talent, it's the mentality. For years, Chelsea was a club of big names with no fire, signings who played it safe. Not anymore. This squad doesn't blink against PSG, Manchester City, or Real Madrid. They're mostly under 25, but they play with the swagger of veterans. When the pressure's on, they don't fold. They fight back with smart football and raw grit. There's a vibe in the locker room you can't coach. Unity, hunger, a shared belief they're building something massive. And it's paying off. The 2025 Club World Cup, they didn't just win it. They owned it, smashed Benfica 4-1, outclassed Palmeiras 3-1, shut out Fluminense 2-0, and then humiliated PSG 3-0 in the final. Cole Palmer was MVP, João Pedro was a breakout star, and Maresca, he just smiled like he knew this was only the beginning. This Chelsea isn't a fluke. It's a team built on tactics, heart, and a chip on their shoulder. From the ashes of 2022, a club with no plan, no identity, they've become a machine. The Premier League, they're ready to challenge for it. Champions League, FA Cup, EFL Cup, don't bet against them. What's wild is that they're not done growing. Back in 2022, people said Stamford Bridge was a graveyard for talent, a failed money pit. 3 years later, it's a fortress again, home to a team that doesn't just win, it demands respect. They've risen from the ruins with a clear mission: get back to the top and stay there. So what do you think? Can this Chelsea squad dominate in 2026? Are they already Europe's scariest team? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for more football content. Let's go!